Hello and welcome to Cracked Open, a podcast guiding you on your journey to becoming a vessel of unconditional love. And this is your host, Beck Milonis, High Priestess, Channel, and Activator. Join me on this series as I share reflections, insights, and channel transmissions from my journey of walking the initiation path. Each episode is a unique transmission containing supportive frequencies to facilitate the deepest healing, activation, and reconnection with your soul. I invite you to open your mind and set the intention to receive this episode into your heart space. Let's go. Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of Cracked Open, a podcast supporting you to become a vessel of unconditional love. And now, as I'm thinking about that tagline, it certainly needs a rethink because we already are unconditional love. We do not need to become anything. And I suppose this is where I want to take this episode today. I was guided very strongly this morning. You need to get on, do an episode. I know it's been a while since I've just riffed on here. My intention for today is really, truly, as it is with every episode, but especially with today, for those listening, I've really guided that and been asked to bring whoever really needs to hear this today to this podcast episode. And I want to say that I want you to pay attention to what you feel more than what I'm saying. I'm going to say a lot of stuff that I always say. I'm going to repeat a lot of things that I've probably repeated a million times on this podcast. I'm going to say things that spiritual teachers have been saying since the dawn of time. I'm going to use words that you've probably heard in different contexts, right? Interpreted in different ways. I'm going to use words that might trigger you, like God has a lot of charge around it. Just, I'm asking you to let go of any judgments of anything that I might say. And as you're listening to today's episode, I'm asking you to really feel the truth of what I'm saying in your heart, because there is nothing that I can say. There's nothing that I can teach that you don't already know deep inside of you. And this is a truth that I just keep coming home to more and more and more. There is nothing any spiritual teacher that is really, truly a good spiritual teacher, what is good, but a legitimate spiritual teacher who is here for pure service, right? Who is devoted to God, who is acting with God. Again, that word God, guys, if you have resistance to the word God, please know I'm not religious. Release any religious stuff around the word God. Replace it in your mind with universe, source, divine mother, whatever will help you to touch that place. Love, right? I use the word God because it's a powerful word and because I believe in God. I do believe in God. I'm a servant of God. The name Rebecca means servant of God, which we'll talk about maybe in a little bit. But I'm just asking for this episode. It feels really important to say this. I'm not here to teach you things. I'm not here to point to anything. I'm here to help you to touch a place within you where this is truth, right? So today, my intention truly is to bring comfort in whatever way I can to anyone going through something right now where they have lost sight of this truth, where they are looking to the external world to make them feel something that they can access from within, right? I'm going to talk I really don't want to talk about myself anymore. It's exhausting. Talking about myself and using myself as an example is getting a little bit exhausting. I just wrote a whole fucking book about myself. You can go read the book. I talk about myself at length. And I've always used myself as an example to teach from, because what better way to share teachings from my own experience, right? And I think it's a great way to do it. But I'm also really exhausted using myself and my identity as a teaching point, because there's a part of me that is so beyond my little self and her stuff. And, since finishing the book, I'm connecting to that place more and more and more, that transcendental place, which I've touched. And I think all of us have had moments. If you're listening to this podcast, you've had a moment where you've touched that transcendental place of the soul, or of eternal love, of being connected to God, to freedom, right? I'm going to say that this book, I talk about the process of death and rebirth I go through in this book. I'm only now starting to realize Whew, truly, like truly what that process was for me and what that process is for those who receive this codex and what it means really to hold the frequency of Christ consciousness and what it truly means to be connected to God and what it truly means to let your ego die and let something far greater animate you. And it doesn't mean that I'm not human anymore. It doesn't mean that I don't have feelings or suffering or, these things, but it's how we deal with that stuff that changes once we go through this transformation because we realize we are so much more than this human having this human experience, right? And that's not just a concept, it's a gnosis. It's something that comes online deep in the body. It's a knowing. And it's from that place that we move through our lives, right? So I'm only sharing my little snippet at the start of this journey to help you to touch that place within you because, full disclosure, my life right now externally is a bit of a shit show. And I'm laughing about it because there's no other response for me to have in this energy that I'm in lately. And it's funny, I'm going to share one personal thing and then I think we're going to move on. But it's a vulnerable thing in that I had this idea of when I finish my book, this book that I've been wanting to create since I was a child, this book that I've known as my purpose, this purpose for being here and this big thing. And oh my God, it's going to be this huge thing. And I devoted my whole life to it for 7, 8 months, whatever it was, plus all the lifetimes. I'm going to feel some sense of fulfillment. I'm going to get the fruits of my labor. I'm going to get the heavenly riches, the rewards, right? And it's like a cosmic joke. It's pretty funny because on the other side of this, actually, my life on the external is a fucking mess. To anyone looking in on my life externally, yes, I wrote a book. Yes, it's amazing that I've achieved that. But anyone else looking at like what I have to show for all of this, other than, I mean, I have a fucking book, so that's a big deal. But like my situation that I'm in, my living situation, um, where I'm at in my life, my business, everything it's a bit of a shambles right now, guys. And for the first kind of few weeks after releasing the book, I was expecting, there was part of me that was expecting the external to instantly shift and for me to have some sort of like payoff for all the hard work and the devotion that I put in and all the years of suffering that I had to endure and overcome and right all the things that we go through as a light worker. And that didn't come. And you best believe my little human had a lot to say about that, right? And there was a story that was perpetuating in here it goes again, me sacrificing and me going through all this stuff, and I've got nothing to show for it, right? This story of I'm not supported, I'm not loved, I don't get to have what I want playing out. And I've noticed it's really interesting in the past couple of weeks, everything outside of me is the same, right? Like nothing has shifted in my external reality the way that I thought it did. The fruits of my labor that I thought I would see showing up, and I was told I would see showing up, and I've had all my sisters who are really psychic being like, this is gonna happen, and that's gonna happen, and blah blah blah, and your soulmate, go be with him, and all these things that I've seen and felt have not happened. And actually, the inverse has happened. Everything has seemed to crumble around me. And what I've noticed and what I've really come to terms with is the rewards that we seek, right? Or the rewards that, how do you want to say that we seek? The rewards or the fulfillment that we are hoping to feel outside of ourselves, like with money or that person showing up or success or recognition or whatever it is, right? Stability. Um, Truly, if we are grasping or holding onto some external thing for those feelings, right, to come through us, then they're not true. It's not the truth. It's not the essence of that feeling. We are not free, right? And I had this realization 2 weeks ago of like the rewards that God wants for us. Oh my God. The rewards that God wants for us is beyond like any of this physical stuff because it's free, it's our freedom. It's our freedom in realizing, I sound like a raving lunatic. I'm like crying, laughing. Um, it's our freedom in realizing that none of the stuff outside of us is ever going to give us the truth or the purity that we can access that within us, right? Like our freedom does not come from the amount of money that we have, or our following, or someone loving us, or us doing well, or having a big house, or being financial, all these things. Like we're like waiting for this freedom to come. I'll feel free when I have this. I'll feel good when I have this. I'll feel loved when I have this. And it's like, God doesn't want you to fucking base your worth and your sense of freedom and your sense of liberation and peace and stability on things outside of you, right? It's like there's this parable from the Bible about the two men who, I think they were brothers. They build houses. I'm probably going to butcher this, guys. Like, went to an Anglican school. I should probably be better with this stuff, but like, there's a parable from the Bible. I know it's an edge. She's quoting the Bible now. What has happened? And the two brothers built their houses on different grounds. Like one built it on the sand and one built it on the solid foundation. When the storm came, the one who built their house on the sand, it got washed away. The one who built their house on the solid foundation on the rock, it stayed. What I'm trying to say is without that solid foundation, which is inside of us, it's internal, everything external can be washed away. We didn't want to go here, but this is where I'm being asked to go. And this is what I talk about at length in the book, like towards the end. I prepare you for it. We're in a really chaotic time in our world, right? We're going into a global, I don't like people like, don't talk about this stuff because then you're paying lip service to it and you're creating it. It's like, I'm just fucking saying what is, right? What is right now is that we're going into a global recession. That is what is showing up externally. I'm not saying this to create this. I'm just saying what is. What is in reality is showing up, and we don't resist what is. Like, this is something else I want to come to, not resisting what is. We're going into a global recession. We have lots of tension all across the world. There seems to be war erupting. Like, people are in this unease internally. Collectively, there's a lot of stuff going on. We're being hit with some really intense energies. There's always stuff going on. But what I want to say is our system is about to collapse, right? It's going to collapse. I talk about this. I'm not going to get into the prophecy and what I see coming. But what I do see is that there's going to be a lot of collapsing happening. People who have been putting their stability on things like their government, their job, their partner, their, external situation are going to come up against a rude shock when that stuff fucking crumbles and there is nothing left. That is building the house on the sand, right? It's not the solid foundation. God wants more for you. The universe, your soul wants more for you. And it wants you to know that if you build your house, which is you base your life, you put your faith, you build your strength in the knowing that nothing that is truly yours can be ever taken away from you, because it's a feeling, it's something inside of you, right? Your freedom can never be taken away from you. That is entering the kingdom of heaven. That's what Christ taught about. That's what all of these fucking disciplines, all of these spiritual traditions point to, the truth that there is a part of you who is always okay. There is a part of you who is pure presence, who is fine no matter what, who is in the burning house and it is all burning around them and they are laughing, right? I have literally been laughing. Like, there has been some stuff lately where I've been like, wow, I should be stressed about the fact that I can't pay this bill. I can't pay my publisher right now, whatever it is. I should be stressed about that. And I'm sitting there hysterically laughing to myself because it's like, well, I guess that's the situation right now, right? And I am not going to let that affect me, right? And so this is what's on offer today, is to feel into that part of you who is beyond the stories and the judgments and the looking at everything around you and like, oh, I'm in this situation and it's uncomfortable, so therefore I failed. It's creating judgments, it's making meaning, right? Our ego, our little self wants to create meaning all the time based on what it sees around us. Our soul doesn't create meaning in that way. Our soul has no resistance to what is, right? Because our soul realizes what is exactly what needs to be in this moment. It's divine fucking perfection all the time. Our soul is not striving for anything. Our soul doesn't need something or someone outside of it to feel good. When we come to that place of, it's like it's in the exhale, right? I never got that. And I was like, these people talking about breathing, I don't understand. And I understand it now. Like, just for a minute, whatever is going on in your life, just be here with me in this episode. Let's just take a breath. Just take a breath. Just like inhale, deep inhale into the belly, exhale. And just, I'm going to ask you in this moment, here, now, right in this second, like maybe in 5 minutes, there's some shit you got to deal with, right? Right now, here and now, in this very moment, what is possibly an issue for you right now in this moment that is taking you away from the presence and the peace that is available to you in this moment? Everything that we worry about, it's in the future, right? I'm worrying about some future thing that may not even fucking happen. I'm worrying about the past that I messed up. I did this wrong. I wasn't good enough. Mommy didn't love me. My past life stuff, right? Whatever it is, whatever past you're attaching to, or you're projecting the past into the future and you're assuming that the future is going to be like the past because all you know is the past, right? In the here and now, in this moment, this is present moment awareness. In the here and now, truly, there is nothing. There is nothing that is a problem. There is nothing that is an issue in this moment, here and now. And then there's the next moment, and it's here and now again. And that moment, there's nothing that's an issue. There's nothing. And you can say to me, oh, but I have bills to pay, but I have this, but I have that. And it's like, yes, but right here, right now, in this moment, here with me listening to this, can you connect to that place where it's perfect? Where even the shittiest situation is perfect because you understand that that moment is grace, right? Whatever you're going through is grace. There is a divine purpose for everything, including our suffering. And then we stop seeing it as suffering because we realize that it is grace, because we realize that there is a gift in everything, right? I couldn't see the gift in where I have been at for the past few weeks. And I was so attached to, but like, where are the fruits of my labor? Where are the shifts that I feel so different inside? And where are the shifts externally proving that I've shifted? And God was trying to tell me back, Rebecca, I'm going to talk about Rebecca in a second, but Rebecca, it's not about what's outside. If you are always looking outside to feel something, right? You're giving your power away. It's like I can feel whatever I desire to feel inside without a reason. I'm going to just feel freaking joyful because it feels good. I'm going to feel at peace because it feels good, because there's a part of me that is always at peace, that is always at joy, that is always fine no matter what is going on, because it understands there is no death. It understands there is no finality to life, right? We just keep coming back here and doing this all again. If you were to zoom out from a soul perspective, whatever pain and suffering and hardship that you are in right now, if you zoomed out and took on the perspective of your soul, it ceases to become a problem because you realize from a soul level perspective, from a higher perspective, whatever you're going through on some level, you chose that and it's perfect, right? And so I realized I was so angry. I was so angry at God, right? It's my fucking core wound, angry at God. God damn it. How dare you, God? How dare you? Um, when I published this book and I didn't instantly, my whole reality didn't collapse to match because I was feeling such deep connection and peace and joy and wealth and abundance and orgasmic goodness. And I couldn't understand why my external was not reflecting that. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I've been holding this frequency for so long. Like, what the hell? I'm so powerful. I can feel the power in what I'm channeling through my body right now in the present moment that I'm in all the time. Like, I don't understand. I'm joyful every day. Like, I don't get it. What the hell? Nothing shifting. And I realized the other day, like the joy, the riches that God wants for me is freedom, it's liberation. And it's without all of this stuff. If you can be joyful and happy and just at peace, no matter what the frick is going on outside of you, you can't be bought, right? You can't be bought. You cannot be convinced or tricked into anything. You are sovereign. No one can take that away from you. You realize that? They are riches that nobody can take away from you. So build your foundation on something solid. And that is that present moment awareness within you that is infinitely tapped into these feelings of being okay no matter what, right? that infinite joy, that infinite bliss, that infinite presence, that childlike wonder of just like, I am existing on this spinning ball of whatever the hell we are in, this globe that we're on, this world, and some stuff's going on, and I'm in this body, and it's really weird, and life is happening. And isn't it interesting, right? Isn't it interesting that we're here having this experience rather than everything sucks? It's not fair. I'm going to use everything that's going on as a reason to be miserable, right? Our ego is always looking to solve problems. It's always looking for something to have an issue with, to take it away from the present moment, right? It's always looking to the past to fix and problem solve. It's always looking to the future. Like, I want to, when I'm here, I'll be happy, right? Some fucking future moment. When I'm with my soulmate, I'll feel loved. When I'm rich, I'll feel secure. When I'm, for me, it's been like when I'm by a fucking pool in Bali sipping my coconut, or I'm in Hawaii with my girlfriend, or I'm in wherever the hell else the next place is I'm going, I'll feel good. I'll feel at peace. I'll feel like I can finally get the restoration and replenishment that I've needed after burning myself out writing this book. And it's coming to that realization of like, I can access that now here. I don't need to be anywhere else to access that peace, that replenishment, that joy, right? That that exhale that is knowing that you are okay. So please know, like, whatever you're going through, and I say this a lot, but I really need to hit this home today. Like, there is a part of you who is just fine. No matter what is happening, there is a part of you who is just fine. There is a part of you who knows what I'm saying is true on some level. Your only job is to reach for and connect to that part of you as much as you can, because then it becomes an instant thing, or it's not even instant, it becomes a more like it becomes a knee-jerk reaction for you to find that place, right? This morning I woke up shitty, and this is, I tend to wake up shitty, guys. I don't know what it is about me realizing, oh hey, I'm still in this body. Every morning I, like, the first hour of waking up until I've had a coffee and I meditate, I'm generally like, my mind is ticking over some stuff. I'm finding reasons to be miserable. I'm negative, right? I would not want to date me and have to wake up next to me, because that's usually the mood that I'm in when I wake up, right? My little human. I mean, not the truth of me, but my human. And I've heard it, the stories of this, the that, and here it is, evidence that God is not supporting you. Here it is. Like, why are you, oh, whatever. I don't like, it's just so tiring even to just like say it out loud. I'm like, it's exhausting. And the difference is, it took me like no time at all to come back to the truth of like, right now, here in this moment, right now, in this moment, is there anything truly that's wrong? Like, am I okay? Yeah, I am. Am I breathing? Yeah, I'm good. Am I existing? Yeah, I'm fine. Right. And no matter what is going on outside of me, I can choose to feel okay. I can it's a choice. It's a choice that we have to make in how we choose to perceive things. And that takes practice, right? So maybe right now, to your human, the situation you are in feels really chaotic, or it feels really shitty, or it feels really uncomfortable. And maybe you don't understand how it's serving you to be here, or why it's serving you. Maybe right now it's an opportunity for you to find that peace within, to find that wealth within. If you don't have money, maybe, and this is like, I'm with you right now, guys. I'm fucking struggling with my finances at the moment. And I was really, I had a lot of shame around that. I was like, how am I here? Like, and I know a lot of people are going through this right now, right? Recession, like I said. I know a lot of my friends who are going through this very same situation. And instead of being victimized by it and being frustrated by it, it's like, I've seen it as, oh, I understand that this is an opportunity for me to find that wealth within, right? There was, I think I've mentioned him on this podcast before. There was an Indonesian man at the gym I used to go to in Bali. And I swear to God, like, this man was pure presence. Like, he cleaned toilets for a living, right? Like, he was a cleaner. Anytime I would see him, I would just start crying, because I just felt like love. It was just love coming through him. That was nothing. It was just love, right? This was a man who had nothing, who was cleaning toilets for a living, and he was tapped into this just love. And that's what I love about the Balinese people. If you've been to Bali, you understand Maybe not now. Maybe that like some weird karmic stuff going on there and that they're falling into a bit of greed. But traditionally, the Balinese people, they have so little and they have so much. They are so rich internally, right? This is like you just need to pick up a Bible, guys. I'm really not into the Bible, particularly not the Old Testament. I think it's written by men, but the truth of Jesus's teachings and everything that he's teaching is pointing to this truth. Like your riches come from within. They cannot be taken from you, right? You can be the wealthiest person, have all the money in the world, and still feel like it's not enough, still not feel wealthy. So maybe right now, if you're going through some financial stuff, it's because you're learning that true wealth comes from within, that true wealth cannot be taken from you. Given what I feel and sense is coming globally and collectively in order for us to birth this new age, like all the crumbling, maybe that lesson is more important for you. Maybe that state of being is more important for you to cultivate than if you had a 15K, 20K month, like the client came in, the money came in to pay off the thing, right? Maybe what you're learning right now is more important because it cannot be stolen from you. And so when things go ape shit, things turn upside down and the whole world looks like we're in the apocalypse, the end of the world, you're going to be the one who's chill, right? You're going to be the one who's like, I'm laughing because it's fine. Like the resources will come. I'll be supported somehow, right? Maybe that's a more important lesson, right? Maybe you've just been through heartbreak. And I've been through heartbreak, right? I have been through intense grief and heartbreak because I've found love that is like the deepest soul love you could ever feel and then lost it. But the truth is, you can never lose it, right? I talk about this again in the book, like karmic relationships, soulmates. Um, I'm not going to go into that. But recently I had I won't go into details, but I had a moment where I realized like you can never lose that love, right? You can never lose the love on a soul level you have for someone. That love doesn't go away. That person is only helping you to access something that you can access within you. So maybe that grief, that loss, that heartbreak is teaching you to transcend those little human relationships and ways of loving so you can love boldly, fiercely, unconditionally, and tap into love without needing someone, right? This whole year, I have been moving through quite an interesting journey since my last karmic situationship, tapping into potentials with someone and all of these things, and using that to like help me to access the feeling of sacred union within me, right? This sacred counterpart, this divine partner, all these things, all these synchronicities. The universe is throwing the kitchen sink at me to be like, are you going to get attached? And I'm like, well, I mean, fucking, it's pretty crazy, but no, I'm not. And recently I've realized like I don't even need someone else to be accessing that feeling of sacred union within me. Like even the concept of like looking outside for someone to tap into that feeling is ridiculous. You can go straight within and find that, right? So anything that you are looking for and you feel like you're lacking outside is an invitation for you to go in and ask, where is this? How can I cultivate this within me? Right? My tea has gone cold. It's very disappointing. And I guess like what I really want to hit home today, guys, is that maybe God wants more for you. Maybe your higher self, your soul, wants more for you. Your soul wants you to be liberated and free. And to your human, you don't understand and could not possibly understand what that feels like because you forget. But here is your opportunity in your moment to just listen beneath, behind, beyond my words and feel it. I believe, I don't agree with gurus in that I don't agree that we give our power away and put someone on a pedestal. But it's interesting. I love Ram Dass, right? I love even just like saying his name, I get really emotional. Uh, um, wow. He's so beautiful. There are some really good gurus out there, and their job is to tap you straight into the God vein, right? Literally, like I just think about Ram Dass and I'm a mess, like my whole body. It just connects me straight into love, right? And sometimes we can find that within us and we can find that in meditation. I can definitely find that within me and tap straight into the God vein and feel that love. And sometimes we need someone outside of us, or it's supportive for us to have a teacher, to have someone outside of us helping us to tap into that God vein and feel it. And so I'm asking you, if you're really struggling right now, like, I'm here. I'm here and I'm holding that love for you. So you remember and you feel it through me. And you feel it through Jesus or Ram Dass or whatever ascended master you resonate with. These ascended masters are here to help us tap into that God vein and tap into the part of us that is them. I had a trippy experience the other day where I was like, oh my God, I am Kali Ma and I am Kuan Yin and I am Mother Mary and I am all these goddesses and I am Shakti and I am Shiva and I am Ram Dass. And it was like, whoa, and I am my counterpart. And I felt it all within me, right? So these gurus, these beings, these people, these that are holding this frequency of Christ consciousness are here to support us to tap into that God vein and feel it. Because in their presence, it automatically brings you back into that. And some of us, that is the journey that we're walking, right? We are walking this path, the diamond path, as I like to say and call it, this path of Christ consciousness to then embody that for others, right? And so I'm noticing like the more I touch that place, the less I have to say, firstly, on these podcasts, even though I've been rambling, the less I have to say for people to feel it. But the more, I don't even know what to say, how to finish that subject. I had a sister the other day who she executed this so brilliantly and she didn't even need to. I got on a call with her and I was really wobbly and she's been through hell. Like this woman has suffered. She's suffered so much to get to where she is. And I'm talking like extreme amounts of abuse, poverty, suffering, right? And she reached this point of freedom the other day. And it was so beautiful to watch her. And I got on a call with her and literally just seeing her face and seeing the love emanating out of her and the peace and the joy. It's like something in me dissolved. And I was like, wow, I can have that, right? Oh, so this is your reminder. Like if you're going through it, it's probably because you're here to hold that for others. And once we liberate ourselves and we can be that point, that reminder, like that, that access to the God vein for others. And sometimes getting there, like it requires us to go through some stuff to bring us back to this truth. And so, can you release the judgment of what you're going through and release the resistance, because it's our resistance that creates the suffering, and it's our wanting to be elsewhere or wanting to not be here keeps us stuck here, right? Like it just keeps us in a loop of the suffering. The more we push away and avoid and try and be anywhere but where we are, the harder it is for us, right? So that is my message. I rambled. I hope you feel the truth of this, that yeah, like there is always opportunity to come back to that. And even if you lose yourself for a moment, there is always opportunity to come back to that truth, to that peace, to that love, to that knowing that you are supported. Like always, always, always in every moment, there is a choice point to come back to that. And it's just like, it's not, it's not that we'll never fall over, we'll never feel things, we'll never get stuck in our human for a second. It just takes us sometimes less time when we're on this path for longer to come back to that truth and remind ourselves, oh, here it is. Like, here I am going into story again. Or here I am. Oh, that's so interesting. I have these emotions coming up. I'm not going to shame them or judge them. I'm going to feel them. But it's obviously my humans creating a story. Obviously, I'm creating meaning out of this. Obviously, I'm identifying with some part of me who is not my truth if I'm feeling this, right? Because the truth of you can never feel, never, ever feel unsupported, unloved, unworthy, not good enough. That's the truth. So anything that you're feeling that is coming up is not your truth, right? Any emotion is separate from the truth of who you are, which is pure fucking presence. And it's okay as well. Like, I'm not saying negate your feelings because that is, I'd like, me, right? If you listen to this podcast, you know what I'm about. I'm all about feeling your feelings and letting them be. But sometimes it's a case of like, I can feel my feelings without going into the story of why they like it's just here, it's just present. I can just be with it and it's okay. I don't need to change it. I don't need to shift it. I just understand some part of me feels that. And as long as I just am the observer, the witnesser of this feeling, I let it be present, it will shift, it will leave, right? It will change. It's when we start looking and searching for meaning, searching for why that feeling is here, searching for what created this, why am I here? It's like just accept that you're fucking there and then you won't be there anymore, right? From the place of human trying to figure out and understand and unpack and heal, there's always more. From the place of presence and being and soul, you understand that literally your only job is to come back to that place of presence where you can observe that feeling and just love it. Just that's all you need to do is okay, I'm feeling some stuff. I'm just going to love it. I'm just going to love it. Some part of me perceives itself as separate. I know the truth is I'm not really separate. So I'm just going to love myself. And that's it. That's as simple as it is, right? So many different traditions and healing modes and modalities and tapping and affirmations. And like the quickest way to find peace is what I'm uncovering, right? Just tap straight into the God vein. That's it. Like tap straight into the God vein. Tap straight into that place where there are no limiting beliefs. There are no hardships. There's no suffering. There's no pain. There's no story. There's no little humanness. It's just love. Tap into that place. If you can take yourself to that place for even a fucking second, you're doing more work than 5 days worth of journaling, right? Because the minute you touch that place, you disidentify from the hell that you're in because you realize it's not real, it's an illusion, right? So that's my invitation for you in this episode. The minute you can just pull yourself out and bring yourself back to present moment awareness, to like the reality, everything is fine. Even if it doesn't seem fine right now, here in this moment, I am breathing, I am alive, I am fine, right? It's all good. It's okay. That's not spiritual bypassing. That is just the truth of your beingness. To your soul, everything is okay. Everything is perfect. There is no good. There is no bad. There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is no right. There is no wrong. There just is isness, beingness, allness, nothingness. Just is. It just is. Can you allow where you are to just is itself, right? Until it just no longer is. Can you just is? Can you just be here in your discomfort, in your fucking humanness, in your mess, in your chaos, in your world burning all around you, and just be like, it just is. It just is. It neither is good or bad, right or wrong. It just is. It's serving a divine purpose. If it's created, it is, and it's perfect, right? A really great thing I like to say to myself when I'm going through some stuff that's really uncomfortable is how could I have, if I was God, which I am, which we all are, if I was a creator, how could I have scripted this so that it was perfect? Why would this be perfect? What in this is perfect? For me, it was a realization of, oh, I understand that the reason why the external stuff is not shifting is because I'm cultivating that from within, and that's a far bigger, that's a far bigger shift. That's a far like more powerful fruits of my labor. Like that's a far more powerful reward than if I had gotten the stuff. Because truly, if I had the stuff, then the stuff left, then I'd be left fucked again when it all, imploded. So actually, I am getting my internal rewards, and the internal rewards is how I feel, the detachment I feel from needing anyone. Oh my God, it's so liberating. Like, I wish for you to be able to tap into this feeling of the liberation of I genuinely do not fucking need anyone to like me, to to approve of me, to think that I'm okay, to think what I've created is valid, to choose me, to love me, to respond to me, right? I send someone like the most vulnerable message I have sent in my life. It basically was like, here is all this really like my heart is on the table of everything that I went through and we were together, and here it fucking is. And I don't even, they didn't respond. They didn't respond. They read my message, they didn't respond. And I was just like, I'm fine, right? I'm feel that I'm fine. 6 months ago, all I wanted was this person's love, approval, validation, response. And now it's like, you've left me on red for 3 weeks and I don't give a fuck, right? That's freedom. That is freedom when you don't need anyone or anything outside of you to feel good, to feel whole, to feel loved, to feel enough. That is freedom because you already are all those things, right? You already are all those things. There is no place in the future where you will feel or be those things that is not here and now. So think about the freedom that that provides. Imagine, just take you to this place with me for just a second. Imagine a place where you didn't need validation, you didn't need praise, you didn't need success, you didn't need support, you didn't need people telling you how fucking amazing you are, you didn't need money in the bank, you didn't even need a roof over your head to feel good. Who can take that away from you, right? Who can take that away? No one can take that away from you, right? That is what Jesus is talking about. That's what the Buddha is talking about. That's a detachment. Because once you realize you have everything that you need inside of you, nothing outside of you truly matters. And that it doesn't mean become nihilistic and have nothing and give up all your possessions. No, it just means that you can have those things and they can add to your life without them being your whole life, right? So I wish that each of you feels what that freedom feels like. Because from that place of freedom, we're creating from pure source, right? Because we're creating just for the fuck of it. We're creating just for joy. This morning I was like, what do I want to do? I want to just get on the podcast and just talk because it feels good, right? Before I'd create from this place of I have to make this podcast so people can feel me and then work with me and like what it's like, no, actually that's not true. I've never created a podcast from that place. That's a bullshit lie. My podcast has always been service and that's why I enjoy it, right? That's there you go. It's why I can do this and I love doing it. It's when we create with conditions, I need to create for this purpose or this reason, or like, I have an expectation I'm going to write a book and it's going to blow up, or like X amount of people are going to buy it, or whatever the hell else people are going to receive it this way. It's not freedom, right? We just create because it feels good to create, because it's who we are, because we are creation, because that's how we want to express for no fucking reason other than it just feels good, right? So it's the same with love. Like I just love this person or that person or whoever just because it feels good to love, because I am love, because it's just my being. I don't need them to love me back to feel good about loving them. Like, no, that defeats the purpose, guys. Like I love just because it feels good to love, because I am love, because I want to be love. And anyone that makes you fall in love is actually just making you connect or helping you to connect to the place where you are limitless love and you don't need that person to feel that love. And so when they leave, that love can never go, because actually all you're feeling is your own love. Right? Whoa, paradox. That's what it is. So I've just been saying some things. I've been saying some words. Hopefully, one of those words hit you in your heart space and helped it land for you. This is the journey that, like my book. One last thing, actually, I'm going to talk about it. I talked on another podcast about this, and so I'm going to share it on my own podcast. I've actually changed my name. I know. So I don't go by Beck. I mean, I go by whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's just they're just words. But I've changed my Instagram handle to Rebecca. Yes, my name is already Rebecca. So Rebecca CCA was my birth name. REBCCA was how I was born into this world, Rebecca. Um, and when I was born, my mother looked at me. She was going to call me Jessica, and she looked at me and she said, "No, this baby is Rebecca," which is really interesting because for the duration of my spiritual journey, um, I have been asking, I need to change my name. Like this name doesn't resonate. Rebecca doesn't resonate with me. Like it doesn't resonate with me. Beck doesn't resonate. There's nothing, it doesn't really land or resonate with me, right? So I go by Beck because it's easier, because Rebecca was like when I was getting in trouble as a child, Rebecca, right? Um, and my guides, my higher self just kept saying, no, no, you're not changing your name. There's no need. After I went through the journey of Diamond Light Oracle, which is completely activating my diamond light body, going through this journey of Christ consciousness, rah, 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 a complete death and rebirth and resurrection of all that I am and all that I ever will be, which is absolutely not the end of this process, because now there's like a whole other level of the light body activating in me, and it just kind of keeps going and going and going on this ascension process. Not to say that we're never finished or complete, because we already are, but what I want to say is like there's always more evolution and growth, which is great. Um, the point is, at the end of birthing this book, I collapsed so many identities and versions of myself going through this experience that the name Beck, it's like on the book, it's on all my social media, it's on my website. I've been known as Beck for 5 years doing this work. So, like, everything out there has the name Beck on it. It just doesn't resonate with me anymore. I don't feel it. But what I did feel was Rebecca, which is really interesting. But something in the spelling of Rebecca with the K-A-H, Ka is like Egyptian light body soul. Something in this shifting the spelling by like 3 letters shifts everything. And now when I see the name Rebecca, I connected the meaning of the word Rebecca. And the word Rebecca, when I Googled it, my my guides were like, okay, now it's time after this journey, it's time for you to go see what the word Rebecca actually means. Googled it. Rebecca means servant of God, right? Pretty perfect. It also means beauty that ensnares and grace that enraptures. So there you go, beauty that ensnares. I think they named it pretty accurately. It's Leo season, guys. I'm feeling those Leo vibes. But I reclaimed that word and I shifted it because now when I see Rebecca, it connects me directly to, I would just say, like, the God vein, right? Like it takes me straight to that place beyond my human identity and the version of myself I choose to be at the end of this journey, right? So I collapsed so many versions of myself and I died so many fucking times, which is what ascension is all about. It's like death and rebirth, that I no longer identify with my old name, Beck. All right. I'm leaving it on my book and I'm leaving it on my website for marketing purposes. Might be like too much of a chaotic shit show if I start changing it because of SEO and all these things. So it's more of a personal thing. But I just want to say, like, this journey into coming into a higher expression or mode of self, or a higher point of ascension or Christ consciousness or whatever it is, will have you completely detaching from stories, versions, identities until you don't even recognize yourself anymore. And, like, to summarize this whole thing, since completing this journey, I've been like, but I went through this journey and I know that this collapse has happened within me. So where the hell is the external evidence of the work that I've done to get here? Like, oh my God, I did so much work and I suffered all this stuff, right? So funny. The last death rattle of the very identity I talk about dismantling through this book, um, not realizing that actually the shift is an internal one. Like, nothing has changed, yet everything has changed. And that's what Rebecca represents to me. It's like this whole different aspect of life where I'm always tapped into that God vein. I'm always tapped into that place where everything is perfect. Which, we touch in moments on this journey, and I've definitely touched it in moments, but it's like the longer you can sustain that as you move through life and have, it's one thing to sit in a meditation and feel God and feel the bliss of the world and then come out of the meditation and scream at your parents that they're fucking useless. That's what I realized about myself. It's like, yeah, it's one thing to feel this connectedness when I'm in bed crying and orgasming and seeing God and all these things, but then having a tantrum because I can't pay my bill or whatever it is, right? So it's like sustaining that. And that's what ascension is about. That's what it is. It's about maintaining and sustaining that connection to God, to your higher self, to your soul through your human life. It's like embodying it. It's like anchoring heaven and heaven on earth here and now in your body, right? Not escaping the body and being elsewhere, being in the astral realm to touch God and feel God. It's like, no, you are being God because you are expressing God through you in every moment. Just you walking into a room, people can tap into that God vein, right? So this is my hope and my wish for you. And I'm going to stop now because I've definitely been rambling, that you touch that transcendental place within you and that you learn to connect to it for longer and longer periods of sustained time. So others may find that within themselves when they come into contact with you. I love you, beautiful beings. I love you. Everyone listening, please know I love you. I love you so much. You are so loved. You are so supported. You are so taken care of. You're going to be okay. I promise you. Whatever you're going through, you're going to be okay. You're going to make it through. The support you need is coming. The love you need is coming. Everything you need is coming. And just, you can find it here and now, right? Like, you can tap into that feeling here and now. That is my rant for today, guys. If you want to read the book, I'm going to post what's it called, the link down in the comments. I have now released the audiobook. I actually, the audio, there's something way more powerful in the audiobook. I've had many people say this to me. I think it's you can just, I've been oh my god, one more thing. I was instructed the other day. I've read this book many times, but I was instructed the other day my guides were like, the power of now. You need to read the power of now again. I was like, oh my god, really? It's so basic, but okay, sure. I've been listening to the audiobook. And it's interesting. Like you just tap straight into that place listening to it. It's like something beyond the words. It's like the frequency of you tap straight into that place. And I swear this is what happens with the audiobook. It's also what happens with the book, but like you tap straight into that place, right? So there's something about the audio. Check it out. Links will be below. If this resonated with you guys, let me know. If it supported you in some way, let me know. I would love to know that these messages are reaching the people that they need. I love you. Until next time, beautiful souls. Thank you for listening to another episode of Cracked Open. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share with a friend if this episode has served you in any way. For more information about the work that I do or to get in touch with me, read the show notes or head to beckmylonas.com. Until next time, beautiful soul.